Okay, so as you know, right now we are over here in this Agostini Fjord. So after we visit Águila Glacier in the afternoon, we're gonna start navigating to the north, yeah, through the Strait of Magellan, yeah. So we are gonna pass Punta Arenas and we're gonna get to Magdalena Island in the morning, very early in the morning. And after we visit Magdalena Island, we're gonna go back to the south and we're gonna reach Punta Arenas, yeah. So, Magdalena Island is a very, very special place. It used to be a national park until 1982, when it became a national monument, a natural monument. Why? Because of the presence of the Magellanic Penguins in here, yes? So, very important place. And well, in here, our landing is going to be very early. It's gonna be at 6:50 in the morning. So it's gonna be before breakfast. So after we come back from the excursion, you're gonna have breakfast at 8:30, yeah? But like in Cape Horn, you're gonna have this early birds coffee starting from 6 a.m., yeah? So maybe before the excursion, you can go and have some coffee and biscuits, so you don't starve to death. Yeah. So it can be very, very difficult because of the wind. Yeah. So as you know, our landing in here is gonna always depend on the weather conditions. Yeah. So very important to have that in mind. So as you can see here on the Magdalena Islands, the penguins live almost completely freely, yeah? This is their house, and we are gonna be visiting their home, yeah? So we have to be very respectful of them, yeah? So whenever we see some penguins trying to cross the path, it's better if we stop, yeah? We wait for them to pass. They might take a little while. Sometimes they get confused and they are like, they don't know which way to go. But it's better if we wait for them, yeah? So yeah, you have to give way to the penguins. Yeah, you can take pictures of them, but try not to get too close to them. Yeah, the penguins are not very scared of humans, but if you get too close, they're gonna feel attacked. Yeah, so it's also dangerous for you if you do that, because they might attack back. Yeah, they might. Yeah, so be very careful about that. And another detail is that flash is completely forbidden in here. Yeah. So when we are giving the instructions, it would be very nice of you if you could check your cameras and your phones and see that the flash mode is not on. Yeah. Very, very important, because the penguins, they don't have very good sight. So if you take a picture with flash to them, they're gonna go blind. Yeah. So very, very important not to have flash on. And also, please try not to take these selfie sticks with you. Yeah, I don't think you will do that, but some people sometimes might try to poke at the nests or get a little bit closer to the penguins, and that's not a very good idea. So just to prevent that, we prefer that you don't take these selfie sticks with you. Yeah. So, what other animals are we gonna be able to see in the Magdalena Island apart from penguins? So we're gonna see many different birds. For example, in here we have the kelp goose or carranca. This species is very, very interesting and nice because as you can see, males and females are very different from each other. So the male is gonna be completely white, and the female is going to be brownish and darker, yeah?
I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, the white one is the male. And they are always very close to each other, yeah? So maybe if you spot this white bird, you can try to look for the female, yeah? We're also going to be able to see many Dominican seagulls, yeah? Maybe it should be called the Seagull Island, because there are many of them. We're also going to be able to see the South American tern. The churrete is a small bird. Churrete, I don't think it has an English name, but yeah, this is the one, very, very small one. Then the main enemy of the penguin, the Chilean skua. And we also, in the island, we also have the sea lion, but it's a bit more difficult for us to see them. Yeah. So the Magellanic penguin is the kind of specific species that we're going to be able to see tomorrow. Spheniscus magellanicus is the scientific name. Yeah. So nowadays in the world we have 17 different species of penguins alive. Yeah. They are divided in 6 different families. And the family of the Magellanic penguin is the Spheniscus. So in here we have other 3 species. Those are going to be the African penguin, the Galapagos penguin, and the Humboldt penguin. Yeah, and for, between all those, the Magellanic penguin is going to be the biggest one. The penguins in general are distributed mostly on the southern hemisphere, except for the Galapagos penguin. That's the only one that is a little bit more to the north. So it's kind of like the opposite thing that happens with polar bears. Yeah, you can only find polar bears on the North Pole. Yeah, so there is like a very popular cartoonish idea that you have this polar bear trying to eat a penguin. That is not very likely to happen because they have completely different areas of distribution. And the Magellanic penguin specifically is going to be located on the southernmost, in the south of the South American continent, yeah? But when they are migrating, they can get really, really far to the north, so even to the south of Brazil, yeah? So they get really, really far away from this area. And the first records of Magellanic penguins that we have are from Ferdinand Magellan. That's why they are called Magellanic penguins, yeah? So imagine how weird it will have to be for these European people to come here and find this bird, because in Europe they don't have penguins. So they come here and they find this weird bird that cannot fly and it's always swimming. Very, very weird. They didn't know if it was like some kind of duck or goose. And also look at this drawing, not very flattering of the penguin. Yeah, I think they are way cuter than that.
And that's huge.
So the penguins, the Magellanic penguins in here were also very important for the navigators and wreckers that we had in this area, because they were a very important resource for food. Yeah. So sadly, they had to eat the penguins in order to survive. Yeah. So maybe the penguins were kind of like the saviors of these people in here. Oh well, the Magellanic penguin can grow as much as 70 centimeters. It can be 70 centimeters tall. They weigh up to 5.5 kilograms, and they can get they can be up to 20 years old. Yeah, but in fact, in Punta Tombo, which is another colony of penguins that we can find in Argentina, they have seen penguins that are 26 years old. Yeah, so they live pretty long lives. Their bones are very heavy and dense, so this helps them to be able to swim and dive underwater. And you know, the typical colors of most of the penguins is black and white. Very important because it's gonna help them. It's very important for them to survive. Yeah, so the white part is very important when they are swimming, because the predators that are going to be underwater are going to look up and they are going to confuse this white with the light of the
surface.
The surface, yeah, the light of the surface. Thank you so much. Very important, the colors for the penguins. And the penguin has 3 different stages of maturity. First, we are going to have the babies, the chicks. Then the chicks are going to turn into juveniles. Yeah? Oh, sorry. The chicks are going to turn into juveniles, and then we are going to have the adult penguins. It's easier to recognize them because of the colors. Yeah, as you can see, the juveniles they don't have these very well-defined colors like the adult penguins. As you can see here, they have these black and white stripes, very well-defined. But the juvenile is going to be more white and grayish on the area of the back. Yeah. And at this point of year, you are most likely to be seeing only adult penguins, which are going to be molting. Yeah. So we don't have many ticks left. Most of them already turned into juveniles and they left. So the penguins are pelagic birds. So what does this mean? This means that they are going to be spending most of their lives underwater. Yeah. If it was up to them, they will be their whole lives in the water, but they have to go on land for two reasons, which are going to be reproduction and molting. Yeah, they have to be on land for those two reasons. And the penguin has three different ways to move in the water. First, we're going to have this they're swimming just like a duck. They are also very good divers, which is the diving is going to be the movement that they are going to use mostly when they are hunting. And then finally we have the movement like very similar to the one of a dolphin, like coming in and out of the water, and that is what they are gonna use mostly when they are running away from a predator. Yeah. So their habitat is gonna be mostly on coastal areas. Yeah, always close to the sea. And mostly the sea is gonna be mostly their habitat. Yeah, their habitat. And as I said, they are pelagic birds. They spend most of their time underwater, so their organisms are adapted for this. Yeah, and one of these adaptations are their feet. Yeah, as you can see, they have these membranes between the fingers, and their feet are very important because while diving or while swimming, they're gonna be using them like helms. Yeah, like a steering wheel. So they are gonna be directing them. They are going to be using the feet to direct underwater. Yeah. And another adaptation are two very important glands that they have. First of all, we have this one. So as you might know, in this area, in this ecosystem, they are not going to have many resources of fresh water. Yeah. So how are they able to tolerate the salt of the seawater in here? Because of this gland, which is a gland that, in fact, every bird has, but most birds don't have it very well developed because they don't use it. But the penguin is gonna need it a lot. So this is gonna be, in this gland, they're gonna have two on each side of the head, and they're gonna be they're gonna keep the excess of salt in here. Yeah, so they can tolerate the seawater, and they're gonna keep the salt in here. And from time to time, maybe tomorrow you will be able to see this, that they are gonna be like sneezing and throwing some white substance out of the nostrils. Yeah, so that is not gonna be a bugger. That's gonna be the excess of salt. Yeah, remember that. And then the other very, very important gland that they have is going to be located on the tail. Yeah, in here they are going to have this gland where they are going to be producing oil. Why? Because some people think that the feathers of the penguins are waterproof, but this is not really the case. Yeah, they need to make the feathers waterproof. And how are they going to do that? With this gland. Yeah, so they are going to produce the oil. They are going to pick it up with the bill, and they are going to spread it through all the feathers. And they are going to have this natural Gore-Tex layer, yeah? So that is going to help them tolerate the cold of the water. Very important for them. So sometimes you are going to see the penguins doing this kind of like cuddling, but it's not really the case. They are just going to be trying to help the other penguins to spread the oil in the areas that they cannot reach, like the head or the neck. Yeah. So the predators of the penguin can be divided in two groups. The predators that they are going to have underwater and the predators that they have when they are on land. Yeah. So on land is going to be mostly other birds. Yeah. So as I said before, the main enemy of the penguin, the Chilean skua, which is not usually going to attack the adult penguins. Yeah. So it's called an opportunistic bird. Yeah. They are going to attack the chicks. They are going to eat the chicks, and they are going to steal the eggs. But usually they are not going to attack the adults, because if they attack one of the adults, the adult is going to attack back, and they can even get to break one of the skua's wings. Yeah. Then we also have the Dominican seagull. They are not going to attack the adults nor the chicks, but they are going to steal the eggs. Yeah. Then we also have the Carancho caracara, which is also going to be stealing the eggs. And underwater we have mostly big mammals like the sea lion or the killing whale.
I don't know.
So other impacts to the Magellanic penguin is going to be, of course, hunting, which is in fact forbidden. But as we know, there are some people who are going to be doing it anyway. Then fishing, yeah, you know, in these fishing nets, there are always going to be maybe sometimes penguins getting trapped in these nets. Yeah, so it's also a bit of a problem for them. And of course, oil drops. Yeah, very, very bad for them, because they are going to get covered in this oil. They are going to try to clean themselves and they are going to get intoxicated. Or if they are not able to clean themselves, they are not able to produce this oil, and they are going to die from cold or hunger, because they are not going to be able to get into the water. Yeah, so they are not going to be able to get food. So as I said, the colors of the penguins are very important for camouflage, yeah, when they are underwater especially, because the predators underwater are going to confuse them with the light of the surface, and the predators that are going to be flying, for example, other birds, are going to look down to the sea. They are going to see the black color of the back of the penguin, and they are going to confuse it with the color of the sea, yeah. And also when they are on land, you are always going to be looking, you're going to see them just like chilling, yeah, laying on their bellies. And that is because they are going to be trying to get more heat on with the back, yeah, with the black part of their bodies. So as you can see here, we have, for example, the kind of like a sea lion looking up, and it's going to be confusing the white color with the light of the surface. The spectral is going to look down, and it's going to confuse it with the blue color of the sea. So the penguins reproduce mostly in the big colonies, like the one that you are going to be seeing tomorrow. And this reproductive cycle starts in September, yeah, with the arrival of the males to the island. Yeah, the males are gonna come first to the island, so they can prepare for the arrival of the female. Yeah, very important. They have to take care of the nests. Yeah. So it is said that the penguins are a monogamous species, but it's not so much a thing that about being loyal to the other penguin, but to the nest. Yeah, they are always going to try to come back to the same nest that they had on the previous season. Yeah, and the female is going to do the same. So once the season starts again, they are going to meet again, because they are going to come back to the same nest. Very important for the penguins to kind of like impress the female, to have a very tidy nest. Yeah. And it's also going to be better when the nest is deeper, yeah, because it's going to be safer for the chicks. If the nest is not deeper enough, the skua, for example, can just do like this movement with the wing and get the eggs, yeah. So very important for the penguins that the nest has to be very deep. So maybe tomorrow you will see, some penguins carrying stuff with their bills, yeah, carrying algae or grass, for example. They're gonna use this all the time to decorate the nest, yeah. They're also gonna be putting rocks, small rocks, in the nest just to like decorate and make it more comfortable. So as you can see, they dig these holes on the ground to make the nests, and every time that they come in and out of the nest, they are gonna be completely dirty, yeah, full of dirt. And it's very important for them to always stay clean, because as I said before, if they are dirty, they are not gonna be able to produce the oil and make the feathers waterproof. So tomorrow maybe you are gonna see them all the time going in and out of the water and just swimming for a little while, like this, just to clean themselves. So very, very good. I hope that we can get to see that tomorrow. And then, well, then comes the recognition or selection of the partner. Yeah, as I said before, maybe they are gonna be able to recognize each other when they go back to the same nest. Or if they didn't have a partner on the last season, they are gonna just try to look for one. Yeah. So the penguins have this very noise that they make, which is called vocalization. Some people say that it's very similar to the noise of a donkey. Yeah, but I'm not so sure about that. Maybe you can judge by yourselves. So what do you say? Does it sound like a donkey or not?
Yeah, it does.
Not so much? Yeah,
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Donkey.
So some people say that they make this sound in order to recognize each other. Yeah, so to recognize the mate or the chicks. But it's not really something that is 100% sure. But of course that this is probably a sound that they use to communicate somehow. Well, then comes reproduction. Yeah, I think we all know how this works, so I'm not gonna get into too many details. Yeah, and well, here we are also gonna have a video for adults, so I think we don't have any children in here. Very short. And after that comes, after this, it's gonna, I think 2 weeks are gonna pass, and then they are gonna lay the eggs, yeah? So then the incubation process is gonna start. This is gonna last between 38 and 42 days. And a very interesting thing about the Magellanic penguin are these incubation patches that they have on the belly, yeah? Because as you know, the feathers of the penguin are really, really thick, and they have many feathers, yeah? So because of this incubation patch, they are gonna be able to trespass the heat directly from the skin to the egg, yeah? So very wise of nature, because if they didn't have this patch, the heat wouldn't be trespassed so well to the egg, yeah? And then, of course, we're gonna have the chicks. Very, very cute. Yeah, as you can see it in here with the nest, they are always gonna be with one of the parents. Yeah. Why? Because the chicks are completely dependent on the parents for many reasons. First of all, of course, they need to be fed. Yeah. So the parents are always gonna be going into the water to look for food. They are gonna come back and they are gonna be feeding the chicks through very difficult word, regurgitation. Yeah, very difficult word for me to say. Thank you. Yeah, so they are always gonna be feeding the birds, the chicks, And actually the parents are gonna take shifts to take care of the chicks. Yeah, so both parents are gonna be taking care of them. So for example, the mother is gonna stay for like 4 days with the chicks, and then and the father is gonna go into the water to look for food, and then they are gonna come back and they are gonna be changing places. Yeah. They're also dependent on the parents because they need to be protected from the skuas, especially, yeah. If the parents leave the chicks alone, maybe a skua is gonna come and attack the chicks, yeah. So they don't want that to happen, of course. And of course, and also, the chicks are not able to regulate their body temperature, yeah. So also, if the parents leave the chick alone, it's very likely that the chick is gonna die because of the cold. And well, after a while, after 120 days approximately, the chicks are gonna start molting, changing their baby feathers in order to turn into juveniles. So very, very funny because of course in the head it's gonna be more difficult for them to molt, to take off the feathers, and they're gonna have this kind of hats of baby feathers on their heads, yeah? And the parents are always gonna have to be helping them to take off the old feathers. So after that, as I said, they are gonna be able to turn into juveniles. They are gonna have this layer of feathers that they can actually make waterproof. Yeah, they are gonna start producing this oil, so they can be able to get into the water. Yeah, and they are gonna be always like just. Sometimes you can see them in groups, just like a group of teenagers trying to plan something. They're gonna stay like juveniles for at least 4 years in the case of males, in the case of females, and 5 or 6 years in the case of males. Yeah. So every year they are gonna still come back to the island. Yeah, they are still gonna come back to land. Not to reproduce, of course, because they are not able to do it yet, but they are gonna come back in order to molt. Yeah. So molting is the only thing that they are gonna be doing. Yeah. Apart from eating and sleeping and taking sunbaths, so they don't really do much. They don't have chicks to take care of course. And then after the chicks have turned into juveniles, they are gonna leave the island. Yeah, they are gonna start migrating to the north, and then after that, the adults are gonna be finally able to molt their own feathers. Yeah, but before this, they actually need to also go into the water for like for about 2 weeks, so they can eat something. Yeah, because for a long time they have been taking care of the chicks. They haven't been eating properly. So by this point, most of the penguins are going to be very, very skinny. So in order to be able to start molting, they're going to have to go to the water and get really, really fat. Yeah. So then they can go back to the island and they can start molting. Because during this molting process, they're not going to be able to get into the water and they're not going to be able to eat. So they have to get prepared for that. Yeah. So this is the kind of penguin that you will be most likely be seeing tomorrow. Yeah, they are gonna be looking really a little bit shaggy. Yeah, with all these old feathers, and that is because they are gonna be molting. So after they are done with this molting process, they are also gonna be able to start getting into the sea and migrating to the north. Yeah, so they can get to Brazil and drink some caipirinhas. Yeah. So, as you know, the Magellanic penguin is a very important species. Nowadays, they are protected. It's completely forbidden to hunt them. And in this island, actually, we have a nice colony that is gonna be very, very well regulated. Yeah. So, very interesting species. Also very funny. Yeah. So that was the presentation. If you have any doubts, any questions about tomorrow's presentation, so thank you so much for coming. You can just come to me and ask me. Yeah.
Magdalena,
the attention, yeah?
when is a good time to see the chicks? If
When is
someone
a good time to see the chicks?
Yeah.
In December, between December and January.
That's great.
So
They're cute, right? They're adorable.
They are really, really adorable. And they are very big. Yeah, they grow really fast. So sometimes you have the chicks next to the adults and they are the same size.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.